Good morning. Good morning. It is 2:54 a.m. I am on my way to the gym, the most powerful place you could start your day at. If there's one thing that the devil likes to do is he likes to run you in circles. And if you can't physically keep up to the task, you mentally start to break down and become vulnerable to the things that come at you versus being able to stand up strong on your two legs and push back and say, no, this is not the way that things are. Today, my son turned 18 years old, and I sat down and I wrote a note, and I really started thinking about how much of a blessing that is, how much of being able to get on that different rung of the ladder is. I remember now Silas just turned 7. So I'll date this video. Silas turned 7 and then Malachi turned 18. And, within 13 days of each other. And I remember what happened to me when I was 6, on my 6th birthday. And I also remember what happened to me on my 18th birthday. And I was thankful that neither one of them had to experience that. Matter of fact, last night, me and Silas were at a Christmas party. And Malachi and his mom were at Malachi's friend's recital, which clearly is an indicator to me that their life is not necessarily going to take some of the turns that mine did. So it got me to thinking as I got in the car and I get ready to push record on this, about how many times I've been very empathetic to other people's struggles, to everybody's pain and their suffering. Now, I still firmly believe that if you want to get the most out of life, and especially if you're undisciplined, that you have to take on a certain level of toughness, because life is going to throw you around a little bit as you're trying to progress through your elevation. But how I felt sometimes was that we were equal. And that because we were equal, you should be able to handle just as much work. And that allowed me to be very unapologetic and not so understanding to people when they said, I want to change. Okay, well, do this, 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 and that. And as I got in the car this morning, I started thinking about people gaining age and everybody striving to get to that that next level of understanding of self and propel them through different chambers of life to get to certain steps where money is no longer an issue. It's a byproduct of your process. It's a byproduct of the work you're doing. I started having a perspective of more of somebody who's walked and is walking up the mountain, understanding the different terrains, and looking back down on somebody who is just starting to move up the mountain and really come to a higher sense of gratitude for not only where I'm at here in my mind, but also a sense of gratitude and thankfulness that other people are climbing, but still hold on to the fact that it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be simple. It's not going to be a takeaway. It's not going to be an easy process. but it's possible. You have to want a better outcome than the outcome wants to be negative. Somebody once said you gotta want to succeed more than you want to breathe. You just gotta want it more. And somebody's gonna be listening to the sound of my voice and they're gonna be saying, I feel you, I get it, but why? Why do I have to wait? Why does it have to be like this? Why? I'll give you a scenario. I have a client, and my clients, they get upset for different reasons. You know, I try to make sure that their reasons for getting upset aren't me, but my clients get upset for different reasons. And the client will say, I don't like the way this transaction is going. I don't like what the other party is doing to me. I don't like that. I don't like how I don't like their tactics. I don't like how they're maneuvering. So I have to explain to my client, this is a business transaction. This isn't personal. And as much as we want everybody to act with certain values and principles, sometimes that's not going to happen. But my biggest question to them wasn't even so much what the other party was doing. I simply posed the question, did it work? Did it work? Because if it worked, then the other party achieved their goal of getting you off track. And now your whole game plan has changed. That's the only thing you have to worry about. Not why, not how come. You don't have to be so super specific into all these other things. Why me? Why not you? If not you, who else? Who else would you want these things to happen to? Or better yet, happen for? So be mindful that all you're really trying to do is get to a point where you understand what happens in the middle of that, what happens in the beginning of that, what happens in the end of that should not be any concern of yours, because all you care is that at the end of whatever it is that you have to go through to get to where you got to go is the objective, period. When I started accepting what was coming at me as I was going through it, I started learning that there was going to be curves and obstacles. There were going to be things that stood in my way. The most powerful thing I ever heard Jim Rohn said was, he said that you kept kicking and fighting to get in, and eventually all the forces in the world that were trying to stop you just stood to the side and said, you can pass. This person refuses to give up. So you got to visualize all your problems that are in your way, creating this huge block wall that you can't get through, of this problem and that problem and this problem. And then you have to imagine them almost like the Red Sea. Each one grimacing, angry, smelling foul, tall, dark, and gloomy, looming over you. Problems. Stepping to the side to the left, to the right of you. Opening up a clear path because you have built inside of you a resistance to giving up. When you build that resistance that you will not give up no matter what, the problems just start to go away. No different than a child who once had a fear of the boogeyman eventually gets to a point where he says, there is no boogeyman. I will not be afraid. I will not be scared. I will look under my bed. I will discover the truth. I will not lie or lay in a false sense of disbelief. And when you conjure up enough courage to seek the truth, to pull back the veil on the lie, everything that you thought was standing in your way will stand to your left and will stand to your right and will part away for you to go any direction that you want to. But in a side note, it's not going to part the way easy. It's got to know, and you got to know, that there's going to be only one outcome in life, and that is I will not give up or quit until I die. Period.